Is your glass half empty or half full? How you answer this age-old question about positive thinking may reflect your outlook on life, your attitude toward yourself, and whether you are an optimist or pessimist, and may even affect your health. In fact, some studies show that personality traits like optimism and pessimism can affect many areas of your health and well-being. The positive thinking that often goes hand in hand with optimism is a key part of managing stress effectively. Managing stress effectively is associated with many health benefits. If you tend to be pessimistic, don't despair. You can learn to think positively. Positive thinking doesn't mean you ignore the less pleasant situations in life. Positive thinking just means that you deal with unpleasantness in a more positive and productive way. You believe that the best will happen and not the worst. Positive thinking usually begins with self-talk. Self-talk is that endless stream of unspoken thoughts that run through your head. These automatic thoughts can be positive or negative. Part of self-talk comes from logic and reason. Another part can arise from misconceptions you create due to lack of information or expectations resulting from preconceived ideas of what could happen. Researchers are still exploring the effects of positive thinking and optimism on health. The health benefits that positive thinking is likely to provide include the following: increased life expectancy, lower rates of depression, lower levels of emotional distress and pain, greater resistance to diseases, greater psychological and physical well-being, better cardiovascular health and lower risk of death from cardiovascular disease and stroke, lower risk of death from cancer, lower risk of death from respiratory conditions, lower risk of death from infections, a better ability to cope with a difficult situation during difficulties and times of stress, and others. It is unclear why people who focus on positive thinking experience these health benefits. One theory is that having a positive outlook allows you to cope better with stressful situations, which reduces the harmful health effects of stress on your body. It is also believed that positive and optimistic people tend to lead a healthier lifestyle. They engage in more physical activity, eat a healthier diet, and do not smoke or drink alcohol excessively. Not sure if your self-talk is positive or negative? The following are some common forms of negative self-talk, or filter. You exaggerate the negative aspects of a situation and filter out all the positive ones, leaving them aside. For example, you had a great day at work. You finished your tasks ahead of time and were recognized for doing a quick and complete job. That night, you focus solely on your plan to finish even more tasks and forget about the recognition you received. Personalize. When something bad happens, you automatically blame yourself. For example, you find out that an outing with friends was cancelled, and you assume that the change in plans is because no one wanted to be around you. Dramatize. You automatically anticipate the worst without having facts that it will happen. At the self-service cafeteria, they make a mistake in the order, and then you think that the rest of the day will be a disaster. To blame. You try to say that someone else is responsible for what happened to you instead of taking responsibility. You avoid taking responsibility for your thoughts and feelings. By saying that you should do something, you think about all the things you think you should do and blame yourself for not doing them. Exaggerate. You give too much importance to minor problems. Being perfectionist. Setting impossible standards for yourself and trying to be perfect sets you up for failure. Or polarize. You see things only as good or bad. There is no middle ground. Before continuing, if you are liking the video, I would like you to subscribe and like the video. It will help me a lot with that. Now let's continue. Now, how to gradually convert negative thoughts into positive ones. You can learn to turn negative thinking into positive thinking. The process is simple, but it takes time and practice. Ultimately, you are creating a new habit. The following are some ways to think and behave more positively and optimistically. Identify areas to change. If you want to be more optimistic and think more positively, first identify the areas in your life where you tend to think negatively, whether it's work, your daily commute, life changes, or a relationship. You can start small and focus on one of the areas that needs a more positive focus. Consider a positive thought to manage your stress instead of a negative one. Evaluate yourself. Every so often throughout the day, stop and evaluate what you think. If you find that your thoughts are mostly negative, try to find a way to put a positive spin on them. Don't forget your sense of humor. Allow yourself to smile or laugh, especially during difficult times. Look for humor in everyday situations. When you can laugh at life, you feel less stressed. Maintain a healthy lifestyle. Try to exercise for about 30 minutes most days of the week. You can even break it up into 5 or 10-minute intervals throughout the day. Exercise can positively influence mood and reduce stress. Maintain a healthy diet to fuel your mind and body. Get enough sleep and learn techniques to manage stress. Surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with positive, supportive people who you can trust to give you helpful advice and opinions. Negative people can increase your stress level and make you doubt your ability to manage it in a healthy way. Practice positive self-talk with yourself. Start by following a simple rule. Don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to someone else. Be kind and encouraging to yourself. If a negative thought occupies your mind, evaluate it rationally and respond with affirmations of what is good about yourself. Think about the things you are grateful for in your life. How can you put positive thinking into practice? Below I will give you some examples. When it comes to doing something different, instead of saying, "I've never done it before," say, "It's an opportunity to learn something new." When you find yourself in a difficult situation, instead of saying, "It's too complicated," say, "I'll approach it from a different angle." Instead of saying, "I don't have the resources," better understand that necessity is the mother of invention. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," say, "I'll try again." And instead of saying, "It's a very radical change," better say, "I'll take the risk." If you have a negative attitude, don't expect to become an optimist overnight. But with practice and time, your internal dialogue will contain less self-criticism and more self-acceptance. You can also be less critical of the world around you. When your mental state is generally optimistic, you are better able to handle daily stress in a more constructive way. That ability may contribute to the widely observed health benefits of positive thinking.